Well, we did it. We made it. 6 episodes. The series is over. Will there be a season 2? That's a topic for another day. I don't want to get into that now. The same thing I don't want to get into right now is my final thoughts on the series. I figured I want to just distance myself for a minute before I jump back into talking about the whole series. I'm going to rewatch it, and I'm going to come back with a pair of fresh eyes as opposed to watching it weekly. I think that's what I'm going to do. So, we're just talking episode 6 right now, the final episode of this season 1 or series finale. And this series, to say the least, has done things I've liked and things I didn't like. This episode, in particular, skewed in a direction I was a fan of. This did a lot of interesting things that really warmed me up to the story they were telling. A lot of that, I think, has to do with just like the behind the scenes I've been seeing from Mohammed and Jeremy and these guys that worked on this, talking about how much love they have for that. It's just nice to see these big creators talking about this character with reverence and doing something cool for that. It makes me smile. And I think at the end of the day, that's all I need from this, is just walking away knowing people are caring about Moon Knight more, talking about him, interested in reading more about him. Even if it's not particularly my cup of tea is over there. I can grab my cup of tea and read it over and over again. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. Because there's liberties taken in here that I've seen communities online saying are bad. And they're seeing them like, this is really cool. This episode in particular ended exactly where I needed it to. And this is the thing, I think I'm going to bury the lead when I talk about this. I really liked the last couple minutes of this show. Not the post-credit scene, we'll talk about that later. The last few minutes of this show imply this could all be a dream. I love that. That is, I think, my favorite part of this entire show. It ends where we start, in bed with Steven and Mark. It ends there, implying this could all be a big dream. It's ambiguous to its ending. Did those events actually happen and they just come back to the flat? Maybe. Was that just one weird nightmare that Steven had one night and he still chained himself up and it ends in comedic timing? Maybe. And that's good. I really like that's what happened. So you could look at this ending in kind of 3 ways, right? All the events happened. And they did. Maybe that's what happened. None of the events happened. Mark and Steven, they thought of it all. It was his coping mechanism to deal with his trauma, an actual internal thought that he had. Or you could look at it the third way. It's just selective and it doesn't matter. If another project mentions there was a big fight in the sky and people were dying all over the place, fine. If everyone's like, what the hell are you talking about, you weird man in a white suit? That's also fine. The fact is, it's ambiguous, and it should be. That's one of the things I was talking about early on this channel when it came to the show. Leave it ambiguous. We don't need to know the specifics. We can get the specifics on Mark's trauma. That is important to the character. But you don't have to be like, is this real or fake? Who's to say? You let the audience go like, that was really weird. I don't think it happened. Personally, this is just me. I like the impression that it's all fake. And I like the impression that maybe some of the characters just have these powers now. Who cares? It's fine. So, if you've been complaining about the lack of action in this show, and I know some people might have been, this is where it's at. We have a big fight at the end here. Steven goes... Mark goes back to save Steven in the, from the field of reeds. He comes back and saves him, and Tawet's like, I'm just gonna go. Like, you guys are fine. Go deal with this shit. And you see that entire time while that's happening, Layla is fighting against Khonshu. Like, I'm not going to be your stupid avatar, man. You have to go save Mark and Steven to do that. Go find them and do it, because he's freed again. We also see that Emmett is freed. And, okay, I'm going to say something weird. And I just want this to be out in the open. That's a sexy crocodile. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why. Every time Emmett came on screen, I'm like, this is surprisingly attractive for a crocodile. And I'm not saying that because I think it's like, oh, I can't wait to do that with a crocodile. It's more like, if I was an 8-foot tall crocodile, man, I'd think she's attractive. So cool. Sexy crocodile lady that hurts people gets into a big CGI fight with Skeleton Birdman. And she's like, dude, you look like shit. I'm like, yeah, compared to all these other ones, Khonshu looks like a dead animal. I love the rest of them. They're just up and just happy and thriving. Look at me. I'm the hippo, beepity boo. And you just see the crocodile's like, yes, I'm cool too. But Khonshu's just a dead bird. I think that's amazing. I just love that idea. It's so cool. So yes, we get the big fight between Khonshu and Amit, and it looks cool. It's very fun. I like the use of the dark colors here. Using the purple against the colors of Egypt is brilliant. I know that color has important undertones for that culture. I'm assuming it does, at least. I shouldn't say I know that for a fact, but I'm assuming it does because it just pops so well on this set. Every time the purple is introduced for like the lasers or the lights, it looks fantastic. And it plays perfectly to this, like the white and the green bird and like crocodile clashing against each other. It looks fantastic. And during that, yes, Mark comes back to life and Khonshu comes to find him. He's like, okay, dude, we gonna do this right this time? And it's like, okay, I guess we'll try. But Steven's like, whoa, time out, bro, okay? You have to deal with both of us now. So when we're done this fight and we save the world from this weird lady, you have to let us go. And Khonshu's like, fine, whatever. Can we go now? Because shit is about to go down. And I really like the idea that Khonshu and Amit are pretty much fighting the same battle, except Khonshu isn't doing it in her style. They're both attacking bad people, but Amit's just beating them to the punch, She's like, you have the potential to do bad, But Khonshu's like, you've done bad? It's cool, because I'm like, yeah, these are just stupid gods fighting for no reason. Of course it'd be this silly and dumb. I like it. It's kind of fun. And it leads to great action. Not just between the big crocodile and big bird fighting, but Ethan Hawke and Oscar Isaac get to jump around and throw each other all over the place. That's kind of fun. I mean, if I was either of those men who were hesitant of joining a cinematic universe like this, and they said, hey, at the end, you guys just to go ape shit and just beat the crap out of each other and toss each other around and just do some weird action, I'd be like, hell yeah, brother. Let's go do it. Let's go get crazy and have fun. And that was really impressive to me. But the standout, the absolute standout of this episode, of this series, has been May Kalamawe's Layla El Foyle. I adore this character. I am going to say something very controversial right now, so just sit by for a moment and let me say it. I think Layla is the only pure example, the best example, the only one where I think the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done right by more so than the comic books. That might be controversial, but I mean that literally. This is the first time I think a character has been presented better on screen than in a comic book. Because this character is Marlene. She is. Her father gets killed on a dig site by Bushmen. This character is Marlene. And Marlene, while I support that character and I like her, is just the love interest at times. She is very one-dimensional. And that's okay when you're dealing with the mental psychosis of a character like Mark Spector. But this isn't, the 90s or the 80s or even 2006. This is 2022. You have to let this character breathe and flesh out. Not only does May show incredible acting skills, literally doing the multiple body thing that Oscar has been doing all season. She gets a scene where she's pretending to be Tawet, and I'm like, this is brilliant. I want more of this. She is so good in that scene, and I love it. Not only is she doing that and proving she's one of the best actors on this bloody show, she suits up. I didn't see it coming. I did not see it coming. So she becomes Tawet's avatar. Which, okay, it's the Scarlet Scarab, right? That's who she's supposed to be because her father, or the character she's emulating from the comic book was the Scarlet Scarab who appeared in a book. If that's who she's representing, that's great because who the hell knows who that is? I absolutely lost my mind, more so than anything else in this show, when May steps out and she just extends the wings. That was the coolest moment to me. And yeah, some people might be pissed, but that's awesome. That is just the coolest thing ever. And when her and Oscar are teaming up and he's switching from Moon Knight to Mr. Knight, just beating the crap out of everybody, it is amazing. And I love just the different fighting styles between the two personas, where Mark is a little more like, smart about what he's doing. jumping off of cars, tossing his discs around. It's very cool. And Steve was just like, I'm going to beat you up on the street with these sticks and punch you a good one. It's brilliant, and it looks like it's good action because it's in focus and it's very interesting. I thought it looked incredible, and you just see the way that the Silver Surfer, the Scarlet Scarab, is fighting around, and someone's like, "Are you an Egyptian superhero?" And she's like, "Yes, I am." It's awesome. That's awesome. So I've said this earlier. If you've read my community post, I have many thoughts about this character now. Layla is my favorite character in the MCU. Hands down, she is my favorite. And May might be one of my favorite new actors in the MCU. I have so many more thoughts about this character. I'm saving it for another video. Okay, so if you want to hear anything more about Layla and the Scarlet Scarab and where I think this character should go, I am saving it for another video. Just know it is the best part of the show. She is the best part of the show. I never thought the best part of a Moon Knight television series would be the role played for the Marlene character. I never imagined that. I thought I'd be super obsessed with the Khonshu stuff, and I like that stuff. When they're fighting next to the pyramids, just like a big crocodile and a big bird bashing each other about. It's awesome. It looks cool. And I like the way that Moon Knight actually fights in this. Does he fly or float from a scene to a scene at super speed? Yeah, that's kind of lame. But this is just the MCU. Every character's nigh invulnerable for some stupid reason. It's annoying. This is just a problem I have with the MCU in general. Every character is either bulletproof or has so much technology that it doesn't matter if they get hit. It's not going to hurt them unless there's like a big explosion. That's just a problem I have. So the fact that Moon Knight is maybe soaring across the skyline to reach his beloved, I don't care. I get it. This is what you do. You are taking more liberties than that. I'm fine. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not a choice I would have made, but cool. They give Khonshu a lot more power here, which I understand. I think that's more like a modern thing in the comic books too, giving Khonshu more power as opposed to just being like the evil Jiminy Cricket on the shoulder of Mark. So that's fine. I like all that enough. I think it's working pretty well. We do pretty much just like lobotomize Arthur. So I've said it since the beginning. They were teasing Jake Lockley till the end. We'll get to that in a bit here. We have him black out. Mark blacks out one more time. He wakes up. Every single bad guy is killed, dismaimed, and he's pulling out one of his crescents from just like the top of Arthur's head. And you're just like, whoa, did he just kill him? He didn't, as we'll get to at the end. It's insane. It's insane. And I'm like, okay, you have really just established a really cool version of Moon Knight that we could see it sometime. We don't see a costume for it, which is fine. Since it blacks out, I'm going to assume he's going to be getting a Marvel Now inspired costume with more black on it. But that's fun. I really like that. Where it's just like, okay, every time it's blacked out, like the blackout, that's been Jake. I think that's a great use of that character because 3 is a lot for the first season. If you set it up later, I get that completely. That's cool. I thought that worked really well. So that's how we deal with Arthur. We use the power of friendship where we all stand in a circle, hold hands, and chant to capture Amit again. Okay, that's fine. It's all spells and magic and bullshit anyways. I can get behind that. There's really nothing wrong with that. It was just, okay, here we go now. It's fine. It's fine. It was okay, I guess. Is it silly? Yeah, but that's what these are. And I get it. I do get it. It had to happen that way, so I'm living with it. It's okay. It's cool. But I love Layla. What a great character. What a great introduction to a new character in the MCU. So fun. I just really like that. Things do wrap up quickly. And I think this has been, in my opinion, the major problem with every single show the MCU has done on Disney+. Their finales are dog shit. They are just so rushed, so forced, so inexcusably boring. And this one could have really benefited from, I think, 10 more minutes just to tie up the loose ends with Arthur and the other, Enneads, is that what they're called? The other avatars. Tie things up with Layla. Tie things up in general, where it just like it happens so fast and then just kind of like ends. And that's a problem. That's not great writing. But I understand the necessity for that to get the ambiguous ending. And I'm fine with that because I love the ambiguous ending. If that's the sacrifice we have to make to get there, that's fine. We don't resolve everything. We don't deal with the fact that maybe Mark and Layla are still married. That doesn't really come up. We don't really deal with Khonshu after a minute. He says he lets them go, and then he doesn't talk to them the rest of the episode, which is fine. I don't care. That's okay. We solved the problem. We pretty much killed Arthur. We Care Bear stared Ahmet away. Everything worked fine. And it was great action. It looked cool. It actually was in focus and had great movement to the camera and cinematography. I still think it's weird that there's like a weird CG hue over the suit, especially given these are supposed to represent bandages. That looked weird and bad, but I can get behind that for other stuff that happened in the show. So whatever. I'm moving on with my life. It doesn't bother me that much. Very fun. And then we do get the two endings. So there's the ending where we wake up in the mental institution again, and you see Harrow is bleeding from his feet because the sand or the glass has finally broken his footing because he's dead, pretty much. And we wake up in a dream where we started off the show, Humperdinck's playing his song again. Every day I wake up and I start to break up. Lonely as a man without love. And we just go to the beginning. There's two fish in the fish tank this time. That's symbolism that they're working together, and Mark and Steven are good again. If you didn't catch that, great use of that. I thought that was really fun. Just really funny. I enjoyed it. Like, come on, that's good. And he just falls out of bed again because he's still chained up because he's having the waking nightmare of dreams or whatever. I thought it was cool. That makes sense. I like it. And then just, it's done. There you go. We cut to our post-credit scene. No ties to the MCU whatsoever. Just 6 episodes of a character study of a man broken by trauma that he makes a new personality and deals with the war of Egyptian gods. Kind of fun. Not the perfect show, but kind of interesting. Post-credit scene, there's Jake Lockley working with Khonshu. Saw it coming. Am I pissed he doesn't have a mustache? I'm living with it. But he has this stupid flat cap, and that's all I pretty much need from him. Shoots Arthur Harrow, they take him out of the hospital, kicks his wheelchair away, shoots him in the head of a gun. Khonshu's in a tuxedo, looking sexy AF. It's great. Why am I attracted to the Egyptian gods? Like, just the sexy crocodile lady. You put Khonshu in a tuxedo and suddenly I'm ready. Like, what? But yeah, okay. Jake Lockley's here. Driving the limousine for Khonshu. We are really leading into certain aspects of this character. Again, no tease for the second season. I wonder how that's going to go. We'll talk about that later. Very interesting show. It did some things I liked. It did some things I didn't. But this finale, out of everything on Disney Plus, this finale was probably the strongest. It had the best action. It had the best CG. It had the best character study. And it ended in a way I think the character needed to make this story really impactful. And while everyone's going to be talking about the post-credit scene, I thought it was just, yeah, you had to. It felt like you had to, so people wouldn't be like, where's Jake Lockley the whole time? It's fine. It was cool. It gave me characters I like. It told a story that was fine. And the show overall, I've seen worse, so that's a good thing. It was just, I don't want to do my final thoughts. I just want to say, as a finale goes, good job. You sold me on the concept of what you were doing. You wrapped everything up to the point where you could have the ending you needed, and that's what matters about a show like this. Getting to the place you needed to, not where you're supposed to be. That's great. That's perfect. That's all you got to do, baby. You did it. Moon Knight, you did it. And we got Doctor Strange this week, and then Kamala's show starts soon, and then Thor. There's too many of these. I'm sorry. There's too many of these. It's different than a comic book because a comic book you can read in 10 minutes. This is so much of your life. Okay. That's all I got to say. We'll be back talking more Layla, final thoughts, season 2 later. Thank you guys so much for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.
Our demon, face the vengeance of the Moon Knight.